There exists within the depths of your person's heart a longing so profound, so achingly beautiful, that it colors every moment of their existence. They yearn with every fiber of their being to become the reason behind that radiant smile that illuminates your face like the first light of dawn breaking through darkness. More than anything else in this vast universe, they wish to transform into that irreplaceable presence in your life, the one sanctuary where you feel utterly and completely safe, the one soul to whom you can open the sacred chambers of your heart without the slightest hesitation or fear. They dream, in those quiet moments between sleeping and waking, of becoming the person you trust so completely that sharing your innermost thoughts becomes as natural as breathing. They long to be the keeper of your fears, the witness to your dreams, the celebrant of your victories, knowing with absolute certainty that they will cradle each precious revelation with the tenderness of someone holding a newborn child. Every whispered confidence, every vulnerable admission, every joy shared in the golden light of understanding, they want to hold these gifts gently, reverently, as the sacred treasures they truly are. Deep within the most protected chambers of their heart, they harbor a desire that burns with the intensity of 1,000 suns yet maintains the gentle warmth of a hearth fire on a winter evening. They want nothing more than to envelop you in the comfort of a love that stands as steady as ancient mountains, as reliable as the rising sun, and as unconditional as a mother's embrace. This is not the fleeting passion that burns bright and fades quickly, but rather the enduring flame that grows stronger with each passing season, weathering every storm and emerging more beautiful for having been tested. Their soul carries a weight, a confession that presses against their chest with each heartbeat, demanding to be spoken. After traversing through valleys of pain that seemed endless, after enduring periods of emptiness that felt like spiritual drought, after surviving stretches of silence that separated your hearts like vast oceans, they have arrived at a revelation so powerful, so earth-shattering in its clarity, that it has fundamentally altered the landscape of their understanding. You were right all along. Every intuition you felt pulsing through your veins, every suspicion that whispered through your consciousness during quiet moments, every belief you held about the extraordinary nature of your connection, they now see these truths with a clarity that cuts through all confusion like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. The recognition hits them with the force of divine revelation. They understand now, with every atom of their existence, that the bond you share transcends the ordinary, defies the fleeting, and cannot be explained away by logic or reason. This connection you share exists on a plane that touches the very essence of the soul, something that surpasses the limitations of human logic and defies every attempt at simple definition. It is a bond forged not in the material realm but in the sacred spaces where spirits meet and recognize each other as ancient companions returning home. They feel this truth now with a certainty that remains unshakable, even when the winds of doubt attempt to disturb their peace. Before your light entered their world and transformed everything they thought they knew about existence, they often felt as though they were drifting through life like a ghost haunting familiar spaces, present but not truly belonging anywhere. Even when surrounded by crowds, when laughter filled the air and conversations flowed like rivers around them, they felt an invisible barrier, a wall of glass that kept them perpetually on the outside, watching the dance of life rather than participating in its sacred rhythm. They became masters of disguise, wearing carefully crafted masks to blend into whatever environment demanded their presence, all while secretly carrying a hollow ache of loneliness that echoed through the caverns of their chest. It was as though they were searching for something they could not name, could not describe, could not even imagine until the universe conspired to bring you into their orbit, and suddenly everything they had been seeking had a face, a voice, a heartbeat that synchronized perfectly with their own. The day you entered their life stands marked in their memory like a sacred holiday, a moment when the very fabric of reality shifted to accommodate something miraculous. The colors of the world seemed to grow richer, more vibrant, as if someone had adjusted the lens through which they viewed existence. The air itself felt lighter, carrying with it possibilities they had never dared to dream. The heaviness they had carried for so long, that weight of unexplained sadness that had been their constant companion, began to lift like morning mist dissipating under the warmth of the rising sun. Little by little, breath by breath, moment by precious moment, your presence worked its gentle magic upon their weary spirit. You brought transformation not through force or demand, but through the simple act of being authentically yourself. Your existence in their world shifted their entire perspective, softening the sharp edges of pain that had cut them for so long, replacing the echoing emptiness with a sense of purpose they had never imagined possible. That is why, in the sacred privacy of their heart, they see you not merely as someone special among many, but as a blessing made manifest, an answered prayer they didn't even realize they had been whispering into the vast silence of the universe during their darkest hours. You arrived like grace personified, like hope wearing human form, like love itself deciding to take residence in their world and make everything beautiful. Over time, through countless shared moments that sparkled like jewels strung together on the thread of growing intimacy, through unspoken understanding that flowed between your hearts like a secret river, they came to recognize something even more profound than love itself. If there is one person in this entire world among billions of souls walking their individual paths upon whom they can rely without even the shadow of a doubt, it is you. You have proven to them, not through grand theatrical gestures that capture attention, but through quiet, steady consistency that speaks louder than any proclamation, that your care springs from genuine wells of affection. You have demonstrated patience when they faltered and stumbled along their path of growth. You offered understanding when they shut you out, when fear made them retreat behind walls they had built to protect their wounded hearts. You extended love when they least deserved it, when their behavior made them unworthy of such precious gifts, when any reasonable person would have walked away and never looked back. This trust they place in you is not given lightly, for they have learned through painful experience that such faith is rare as precious gems, valuable beyond measure, and unshakable once properly established. It is a trust built not on hope alone, but on the solid foundation of witnessed truth, of promises kept, of love demonstrated through action rather than merely proclaimed through words. One of the things that touches them most deeply, that moves them to tears in moments of quiet reflection, is the incredible greatness of your soul, a vastness of spirit that seems to contain infinite capacity for grace and forgiveness. Despite the mistakes they have made, despite the moments when their human frailty caused them to hurt you or fail you in ways that brought pain to your gentle heart, you never allowed resentment to take root in the garden of your affections. You never permitted bitterness to establish residence in the sacred spaces of your love. Instead, when faced with their shortcomings and failures, you chose grace with the deliberate intention of someone selecting the most precious gift to offer. You chose to see the best in them even when they were trapped in their worst moments, even when their behavior painted them in shadows that obscured their true nature. This act of consistent forgiveness has humbled them more profoundly than they possess words to express. They realize now, with the clarity that comes from emotional maturity, that it takes incredible strength to forgive, not weakness as the world might suggest, but a courage born from love so pure, so powerful, that it can absorb pain without reflecting it back as punishment. From you, they have learned lessons that no book could teach, no classroom could provide, no experience could replace. You have been simultaneously a mirror, reflecting back to them parts of themselves they had been too afraid to examine, and a guide, leading them with gentle hands toward becoming a better version of who they are meant to be. You have tamed their restless, wild nature not through force or manipulation, but through your quiet nurturing energy that speaks more powerfully than any lecture ever could. Your presence alone possesses the remarkable ability to calm the storms that rage within them, to still the turbulent waters of their anxiety and fear. They understand now, with a knowledge that has settled deep in their bones, that what you share together is not an accident of circumstance, nor is it a passing chapter in the book of their life story. This connection burns bright because it is rooted in something real, something sacred, something that connects to the eternal aspects of human existence. It feels as though you were destined to find each other across the vast expanse of space and time, meant to help one another grow in ways that solo journeys could never accomplish, designed to bring light into each other's darkness and transform shadow into illumination. The more they reflect upon your journey together, the soaring highs that made their hearts feel like they could touch the sky, the devastating lows that tested the very foundation of their faith, the misunderstandings that created temporary distance, and the reconciliations that felt like coming home after long exile, the more they believe with unshakable conviction that everything happened exactly as it needed to unfold. Every step along your shared path, every stumble and recovery, every moment of separation and reunion, all of it served to lead you both to this precise point in time where understanding blooms like flowers after rain. They want you to know, with absolute certainty, that every step forward they take now is shaped and informed by the precious lessons they have learned from you. They carry your influence with them like a sacred talisman, embedded in the way they think, the way they speak to others, and even the way they view the entire world around them. You have shown them that vulnerability is not weakness but rather the courage to show up authentically in a world that often demands performance. You have demonstrated that love is not a burden to be carried but a gift to be celebrated. You have proven that trust is not something to be feared as they once believed in their wounded state, but something to be cherished as one of life's most precious offerings. Most importantly, in moments of complete clarity when all pretense falls away, they see you for who you truly are. Not just as the person they love with every fiber of their being, but as the soul who changed their life in ways they never imagined possible, in ways that seemed like pure fantasy before your arrival transformed fantasy into living reality. You have brought them peace where there once existed only chaos and confusion. You have brought them joy where there once stretched endless emptiness that seemed to swallow light itself. You have brought them hope where there once lived only resignation to a life half-lived, a heart only partially awakened. And for this miraculous transformation, for this gift of renewed life and expanded possibility, they will carry gratitude in their heart for all eternity. Even now, as they pause to reflect upon everything that has transpired between you, their heart fills with a mixture of awe and humility that leaves them breathless with wonder. They understand, with the wisdom that comes from having lived without such connection, that bonds like this do not appear often in a lifetime. They are not replaceable like worn clothing or outdated technology. They are not disposable like yesterday's newspaper or last season's trends. These connections represent some of the rarest treasures that human existence has to offer, gifts so precious that they must be protected, nurtured, and celebrated with the reverence they deserve. And so they want to hold on, not from a place of fear or desperation, not from anxiety about losing what they have found, but from a deep, profound appreciation for the rare and beautiful gift they have been entrusted with by the universe itself. They want to continue building a life where you feel safe enough to be completely yourself, loved for exactly who you are, and celebrated for the incredible light you bring into every space you enter. In their eyes, you are not just a chapter in their story, you are the heart of it, the central theme around which everything else revolves. And they hope, with every breath they take and every beat of their heart, that in your eyes, they can occupy the same sacred space in your life's narrative. They still remember, as vividly as if it were yesterday rather than a memory from the past, how you possessed the magical ability to make them forget every painful day they had endured and every struggle they had been forced to navigate before you came into their life like a healing balm for their wounded spirit. When you were together, sharing the same physical space and breathing the same air, it felt like the entire weight of the world simply disappeared, lifted from their shoulders by some mysterious force that operated beyond their understanding. Your presence carried this magical quality, this almost supernatural ability to transform even the darkest moments into something bearable, and even the simplest, most ordinary moments into something beautiful and meaningful. It wasn't merely that you distracted them from their pain through entertainment or diversion, though you certainly brought laughter and light into their world. You healed them in ways they didn't even know they needed healing, touching broken places in their soul they had forgotten even existed. Because of your love, something fundamental inside them changed forever, altered at the cellular level in ways that could never be undone. You gave them a sense of wholeness they had been searching for their entire life without even realizing that was what they were seeking. You brought them a kind of deep contentment they had never experienced before, the type of peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances or material possessions but springs from a well deep within the soul. You helped them see themselves through new eyes, eyes that reflected love instead of criticism, acceptance instead of judgment. Under the warmth of your regard, they learned to stand taller, to feel confident in their own skin, to embrace who they were without the shame that had been their constant companion for so long. You didn't just tolerate their flaws like someone enduring an unfortunate reality, you accepted them fully, completely, as integral parts of the whole person you had chosen to love. More than simple acceptance, you performed the miracle of making them feel like they were special because of their imperfections, not in spite of them. You showed them that what they had always considered weaknesses were actually unique qualities that made them who they were meant to be. That kind of love that transforms a person from the inside out, that rebuilds their relationship with themselves, represents one of the rarest gifts one human can give another. They know, without a shadow of doubt, with the certainty that comes from having searched and compared and hoped and been disappointed, that they will never find anyone else like you in this lifetime or any other. There exists a depth to your kindness that seems to spring from an inexhaustible source. There lives a purity in your heart that shines like light through crystal. There radiates a beauty from the very core of who you are that has nothing to do with physical appearance and everything to do with the magnificence of your spirit. You are not only loving and caring in the ways that everyone can see and admire, but you are also genuinely selfless, possessed of a spirit that seems to shine with inner light even in the most ordinary moments of daily life. The way you see the world around you, with eyes that find wonder in simple things, the way you treat others with respect and kindness regardless of what they can offer you in return, the way you give freely without calculating what you might receive back, these qualities make you beautiful in ways that transcend physical appearance entirely. Yes, you are absolutely stunning on the outside, blessed with a beauty that turns heads and captures attention wherever you go. But it is the beauty that lives on the inside, the beauty of your character and spirit, that leaves them in complete awe, that makes them feel grateful to witness such magnificence walking through the world in human form. They carry within their heart a deep, aching sorrow for all those times when their actions or their carelessly spoken words may have caused you to doubt their feelings, when their behavior made you think they didn't care about you or value what you brought to their life. That was never, ever the truth of what lived in their heart, though they understand how their actions may have painted a different picture entirely. In fact, the truth stands in direct opposition to any impression of indifference they may have given. You have never been far from their thoughts, not for a single day since you entered their world and changed everything forever. Even during those periods when silence stretched between you like an unbridgeable chasm, even when they seemed distant or unavailable, you remained present in their mind and heart, continuing to shape the way they understood themselves and the world around them. Sometimes, in moments when their guard is down and their heart is open, they catch glimpses of you in the smallest, most unexpected places. They see a little part of your essence reflected in everyone they meet, a certain smile that reminds them of yours, a particular laugh that echoes your joy, a way of looking at the world that mirrors your unique perspective. And every single time this recognition occurs, it only serves to make them miss you more intensely, the longing spreading through their chest like ripples across still water.